call the Co-op School Board January 21st meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. I have not heard from Rob, but I am expecting him. I have heard from Beth, who is home sick, so I feel sorry that she's not feeling well, and I wish her she's feeling, I hope she feels better soon. So, that being said, we do have a few agenda adjustments that I'd like to make myself, and then I don't know if the superintendent has some too. But first, let's do introductions. Forgot that. So let's start with Mr. Solon at the end of to my right.
Tom Solon, Co-op School Board from Clyde.
Thank you.
Amy Kellner, Co-op School Board member from Hollis.
Cindy Bancona, Co-op School Board member from Hollis.
Lauren DiGennaro, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services.
Dot Flaherty, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction.
Gina Bergskog, Superintendent.
Holly Durlow Babcock, Co-op School Board from Hollis Chair.
Kate Stoll, Co-op School Board Vice Chair from Brookline.
Rob Mann, Co-op School Board.
Patrick West, Principal of the Middle School.
Jake Hess, Principal of the High School.
Samantha Disco, Student Body Vice President.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so first agenda adjustment is that I would like the board to take a conversation about our upcoming meetings, like calendaring. We have some questions about our February meeting. I'd like to also talk about March and April. So I'd like to do that under the discussion so that we can clarify that. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, terrific. So that'll be our first item.
Get microphones on so we can hear what you're
So the microphones don't project into the room. They just go to the viewers. So I will try to be louder. That's the best I can do. I can be loud. I'm from New Jersey, so I can be loud.
Sister.
Yeah, that's right. There's a few of us from Jersey. We'll just layer it out. Yeah. So calendar. That's what'll be the first thing. The other agenda adjustment is that we are not going to be having a stipend committee update. That's going to be something that comes up. It's not going to be a regular update. So we can cross number 7 off. Is there anything else?
That's all I have.
There was the thing you sent the email about today. Is that something being added?
Maybe we can add that as numbers as at the end. I sent an email to the board very late today. It was a request from another school. I think it's from a group, a robotics group. If you saw it, so maybe we'll talk about that.
An independent team, or if they're affiliated with the school?
It seems like it. So I feel like maybe I just need some questions and how to respond from the board. So let's put that on the robotics. I think it's a National Robotics Team request.
Phoenix something or other.
Team request. Just because technically the chair can build the agenda, but I felt like it was better to get feedback from you guys. Okay, so that's going to be the last thing on the discussion thing. So all of you can keep track of that for me. Thank you. I'm sure you'll all keep me on my toes. All right, so are there any other agenda adjustments from anyone else? Okay, so notifications of nominations, resignations, and correspondence.
I have none, but I feel like there is something that just popped in my head, but I have none right now.
Okay, well, I mean, we can always go back to it if it pops back in your head. I understand that. Okay, I need to appoint a process observer. I don't have a list anymore, so I'm just asking someone to raise their hand.
I'll do it tonight.
Thank you, Cindy. And we will move forward with approval of the minutes. So we have December minutes, and I'm going to need a motion. So the following amendments were offered. Page 1, line 28, correct the spelling of superintendent. Page 2, line 2, delete the A before 1,000. Page 7, line 33, replace advisory with advisor. Replace freshman with freshmen throughout. And page 10, line 1, correct the spelling of there, T-H-E-R-E. So I need a motion to accept as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Kate, and I need a second.
Second.
Second by Cindy. Okay, are there any comments, discussion, further amendments? Okay, all in favor? 6-0, motion carries. And then we had some non-public minutes. There's no amendments to that, so I need a motion to accept as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Kate, second by Rob. Any comments? Okay, all in favor? And that's 6-0 as well. Motion carries. All right, so moving forward, we'll have public input. We're gonna start public input as soon as I finish introducing it. And we will have it run, since it's on the schedule for 6:10, we'll have it run 30 minutes from 6:10. So we'll stay open till 6:40. So if there's a viewing member of the public, we'd like you to get here between now and 6:40. And we will hear from you when it's convenient for us, when there's a good break in the meeting. So residents providing input are asked to state their name and address for the record, and that input be focused on items included on the agenda. The public input period is not intended to be back and forth discussion. It's rather an opportunity for residents to hear from residents before we act on agenda items. However, I do advise the public that if you do speak to us, a lot of times we will reference your input later on in the meeting. It may not happen right away. Sometimes it happens later on in the meeting. So even if you can't stay for the whole meeting, I advise that you go back and watch it so that you can see and hear us even better. So with that being said, I will open the floor for public input at 6:06. Thank you. Thank you.
Still trying to get my hands thawed out here.
It's a pretty chilly
So
night.
I'm Aaron Penkasic. I live at 133 Dow Road in Hollis. I actually have two topics to discuss here that are unrelated. One is I am trying to find a way to create a Turning Point USA chapter at Hollis Brookline High School. One of the very important things that I need in order to make that happen is I need a student sponsor who can then solicit a faculty sponsor so we can go to the principal to get that club put in place. Requires 5 signatures. It's a pretty simple process. But I have yet to find a student sponsor, mainly because I'm an old dude and I don't have any kids in the school, so I have no contacts there. Right, so I would ask
What was the name of the organization again, or the club?
Turning Point USA,
Thank you.
Charlie Kirk, who you may recognize the name. Right, so if any of you have a suggestion as a student that could be a sponsor for that, I would appreciate having that name so that I can orchestrate a conference call with that students and their parents in order to make this happen. Okay, so end of point one.
Okay.
End of point two is I was here last month also along with Doug Davidson, right, who you probably recall. And Doug would be here tonight, but he got a flat tire. And the issue we raised was, and I handed all of you copies of charts, right, that I hope you looked at rather than threw them away, right, which showed the enrollment declining, showed the budget increasing, and showed the academic performance declining. That's an unacceptable situation. So what we asked for last month, and I'm going to ask again, and we will be asking every month, is what is your plan to bring the students in math, science, and reading up to grade level? What is your plan? What is your specific plan to do that? And how will you present that to us as tax-paying citizens? We pay you, you work for us, we don't work for you, right? What are you going to do to fix that problem? Because it's not a good thing that's going on right now. And I don't know if you have anything prepared.
So, again, this is not a back and forth. We're not gonna necessarily respond to that, but
No,
I
I
think it's
get that.
important to watch the whole meeting and see, and actually previous meetings, because we've been addressing and talking about test scores and things like that. We certainly will bring these topics up, and we will get back to you at some point.
How and when? Taking it under advisement is not an acceptable answer.
It might have to be the answer tonight. We're not prepared for a plan for the math science, what you're asking for right now, as far as I know.
When will you be?
I'm just going to say that we are aware of where our test scores are, and they really start in third grade. And so the best way to handle much of this is at the elementary level. So the bulk of the answers you're looking for are held within the meeting minutes of our elementary boards, both Brookline and Hollis.
The data I gave you at our last meeting addressed 11th grade students,
Yes.
and it was pathetic.
So some of the test scores that you are focusing on do seem to be challenged. But we also have our school profile, and in that, our SAT scores are higher than the national average. They're higher than New Hampshire average. Our AP scores are, I believe, in 2025, 90% of our students got a 3, which is a qualifying grade, which means that they'll be able to get credits in college. So we do have test scores that show our students are performing at a high level. What you're asking is, and this is specific types of students, although our SAT score is our school day test SAT, so every student is expected to take that test. And those 2 tests, the AP tests and the SATs, are tests that our students really buy into, which is why I think 8 or 9 years ago, was it 8 years ago? Our former superintendent worked with the state to make the SAT our state level testing, because we knew our students would pay attention to that and buy into that. So
That doesn't cover science, does it?
It does not
doesn't
cover science.
So we do have some work
Yeah.
that we'll talk about on science, and we'll possibly potentially get into this conversation later, or
I'm working on a presentation that I hope to be able to ask to be put on the agenda by next meeting. I'm trying to remember what month we're in. 'Cause I
So
don't wanna-
probably April, though. The February is well, we can talk about February.
So our February meeting is our meeting where we do the warrant, and it's a budget meeting. It's a joint meeting with the budget committee, which we're gonna discuss tonight. And then we also have to talk about what we're doing in March, because usually we have a March meeting, which is our annual meeting, and we don't have an actual co-op meeting. So it might be April, which is when we talked about test scores last year, was in April.
Okay.
So, but if we can try to squeeze it in February, we'll talk about that. So that's why I can't give you an actual date, because we need to talk about the calendar. But we do have, evidence to show that our students are achieving, like at least the co-op students. So, I mean, we have, I think this simple document that is right on our website shows that 81.5% of our students go on to college, 6.3% of our students go on to community two-year college. I mean, they're getting where they need to go. A lot of students are. So we're not a failure, but in the area that you're looking at, you're not happy with those results, and we are hearing that.
Right, and that's a nationally conducted test. And I appreciate the dialogue, because I don't know you're not obligated to do that in
Right.
public testimony, right? But we have a problem.
The other thing that I would add is, although the administration contributes heavily towards the budget is actually owned by the budget committee, who are meeting here tomorrow night here.
Yeah, I well understand that,
Yeah,
and
so
yes.
I think that some of the questions that you are asking may get a more satisfactory response within the budget committee, in the sense of responding to the data in question, not the plans, but the data in question, because I think that there's some dialogue around that that's worthwhile.
There definitely is, and I'm well aware of the budget committee. I know many of them personally, and to say so there's a New Hampshire state requirement that 95% of the students respond to that academic survey, right? And for members of the budget committee to tell me
Oh, no, I'm not
that,
talking
no,
about
no,
that.
let me
that
finish.
topic.
To say that those that don't respond get a 0 score, and so that affects the average, is blatantly false, and it's provable, right? And so I question the budget committee's judgment, frankly, on that. So,
I don't think, does the budget committee
No,
talk about test
what I was
scores?
talking about is your questions about cost versus enrollment data. That's where I thought they may have some information that might give you some historical context and basis that might be worth a conversation. I was not talking
Okay.
about test scores.
No, fair enough, but the packages I handed to all of you last month is data from the New Hampshire,
Yep, I've got it.
right, yeah, you got it, right, so
Yep.
it's not made up, it's real data, and so, anyway. Okay, so, thank you very much for,
Thank you.
my opportunity to testify, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and again, public input is open until 6:40. But we're going to move on with our meeting since we don't see anyone else here. And I'm going to start with the principals' reports, specifically athletics. And I don't know how you guys want to do this because Brian's not here, so.
Same as usual.
Same as usual. That's-
We
I
are
guess
at-
you're going to do it the usual.
We're at the midway point of the winter season at the high school for athletics, and it's shaping up to be a great postseason as well. Several teams will be in contention for some deep runs. Boys basketball currently sits atop Division II rankings, undefeated, including a holiday tournament champion in the annual Lowell Catholic Holiday Tournament. The girls team started off with a tough schedule, but rattled off 3 wins in a row, added another one last night, I believe. And our unified basketball team also defeated Sauhegan the other night, 48-42. Wrestling team looks strong as they head into their final stretch with only one loss coming at the hands of Milford in a hotly contested divisional match. The Merrimack, Hollis, Brookline, Deerfield ice hockey teams found themselves on a bit of a streak, aiming to make another run back to the SNU Arena. Indoor track, swim, and gymnastics teams continue to make strides, with several student athletes breaking school records and showing great improvement. And all 3 teams will compete in their respective divisional state meets in early February.
Great. Thank you. Ski team's also doing okay. Not mentioned here, not your fault, but one I pay attention to, and they seem to be doing okay.
I've been trying to get to one event of each team. Like, I made it to swim the other day.
Oh. Are you not going to go to skiing?
Can I stay in the lodge and
Yes,
watch for the
yes. There's a little hut. There's a little hut you can stand in at the bottom. You can watch.
Needs one of those heated jackets.
Yeah, no, trust me. Yeah, they don't give ski team parents enough credit, let me tell you.
We got more snow in Central New York, but it's colder here.
Okay. Middle school, please.
Winter sports at the middle school are back in action after the winter break. Both basketball teams making strong pushes to make their tournaments. Wrestling team has shown great improvements. Several new wrestlers paired with the seasoned vets. This isn't included, but I do just want to give a shout out to our boys coach Skip and all of the individuals involved with last Thursday's Coaches vs. Cancer game. That's been an ongoing tradition here at the middle school, and they raised over $3,000 just in that one evening. Sent that off.
That's great.
Yes, so thank you, Skip, and all of the community members involved for that Coaches vs. Cancer event.
And so a lot of these tournaments will be in February, right? The end of the season
Yes.
tournaments will be in February. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for that. Congratulations to all the kids who are working hard towards that goal. All right, Patrick, do you want to do your, Jacob, who's going next? Just tell me.
You're listed, do you?
You're listed, sorry.
I win. Night games. It's our 7th annual night games at the middle school. Our counseling department continues to offer that each winter break the week before winter break, and just add different pieces each year. And it's just it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. Just the students are really excited, not only for vacation, but for all the things that are going on in the school. I included a few pictures this year. Just one little activity during rock was they needed to build torches with any materials they could find in their class, and they had some different creative ideas, and students really enjoyed it, staff really enjoyed it. Other things like the golden egg scavenger hunt, which has been a long-standing tradition here at the middle school, is also a daily activity. Golden egg is hidden during the day, I think 3 or 4, and students get really excited about finding it during non-academic times, and it's just a fun vibe to the week. Dress-up themes each day, and again, big shout-out to our counseling department for keeping that going and making some adjustments and improvements, not improvements, but just changing some things up each year. It's just a fun week. As I shared, I think last month, we had our winter and band chorus concerts. Really great shows, performances from both groups. Miss Nault has got her band group back up to 60 students, which is great. And then Miss Costa, who's in her 2nd year as our chorus teacher, other music department teacher, she has 125 students in her chorus. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you all are aware, December was a very sick month full of sickness, and I think about 40 students were unable to attend that night. But still a really great performance, and I'm excited to see how they do in the spring when hopefully everybody's healthy and the full chorus group is there to sing and shine. Our Patriots Pen and DAR essay winners, shout out to Sai and Nakalu, who won the VFW Patriots Pen winner, is going forward to the state level, and Ryan Tahiri, who was named the DAR essay contest winner. Both of those students will receive cash prizes and be recognized at our end of the year awards. Best of luck at the state level for both of those individuals. Spelling Bee happened in December as well. 7th grader Nicholas Marandola was the winner, and 7th grade student Annabella Regoza was the runner-up. Nicholas is deciding not to participate in the state level competition, which is totally fine, but Annabella is going to represent HBMS in Concord at the end of February. Best of luck to Annabella. I think that's all I have, so open to any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Patrick?
Madam Chairman, if we still have public comment open until 6:40, can I give you one more?
Can you wait until, is it related to the principal's report?
It's related to the town and whole.
So can we wait until the principal's reports are done and then we'll get to you?
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions for Patrick? So I just always like to take a moment to congratulate the kids who are mentioned, and that's Sai and Ryan and Nicholas and Annabella. So congratulations to all of them on their achievements. And then we'll move over to the board report from the high school. Thank you, Patrick.
We had 2 Silver Key winners from the Scholastic Art Awards, Isa Ramos and Lauren Albert. Great honor for them. Their artwork is there attached. Super creative, dedicated, artistic talent there. I'm very proud of their hard work. Our AP Government We the People competition went to the state finals and missed first place by 14 points. It was very close. The class of 9 students held their own against a team of 26 students, and that was the winning school. They did a fantastic job and were invited as an at-large bid to go to the national finals, so they're super excited about that opportunity coming up. And then I love when we're able to collaborate with the middle school and welcome middle school kids up into the building. So on the 14th, choir and band students had an opportunity from the middle school to come up to the high school, see our band and choir perform, ask questions, talk about what band and choir look like at the high school, and just have a really cool experience. And I was able to spend some time with the band kids as they were getting ready for that. So just always love the opportunity for them to come up and do that. I don't have it on this report, but we were notified the other day that we're actually a 2025 AP Honor Roll school. So not only did our test scores reach a mark, but we grew our number of students taking the exams as well. So they honor us as an AP Honor Roll school.
That's great.
So I wanted to share that as well. And that's all I got from December.
Great, thank you, Jacob. Are there any questions? Again, congratulations to the We the People competitors, the AP Government class, and to Isabella and Lauren. I saw that in your newsletter and saw their artwork, and I'm always pleased to see that kind of thing. So congratulations to them. That's quite an achievement. Anything else? Do you want to talk about We the People now? Okay.
Sure. All right, so as Principal Hess mentioned, our AP Government students were invited to participate in the national finals of We the People. That's held in Washington, D.C. We supported the trip last year. This year, we would like to support this trip again. I'm asking for the support from the board for the ability to fund the participation cost. We do have a line item that's academic competitions, and so I'd like to utilize funds from that line to cover the $7,500 cost to participate. As of right now, the trip per student is $1,939. We also have to tack on the cost of the second chaperone, so that would increase the per student cost. Trying to allocate the $7,500 to all the students, there are only 9 in the class, makes the experience really not feasible for the majority of our families. But since we have a line item in the budget and we fund other competitions similar to this, I'd like to request that we move money in the budget to cover the cost of this. This is not something that we make every year, which is why it's not built into the budget.
So will that be under deliberations?
That is a deliberative item for later.
Are there any questions on that?
You want the questions now, or do you want it when we deliberate?
It's such a hard question. You can do it now.
Where would the money be moved from?
There are many lines where we can move the money from. We have savings with hiring this year and benefits. Well, I'm going to go through
So essentially, just unspent money as opposed
unspent
to.
money. We're not taking away from another
How do
line.
we fund things such as tournament play for sports teams that, you know, we don't know in advance that they're going to
Sure.
qualify? How do we do it for trips like when we go to when the band or chorus goes to overnight trip for a competition? How do we fund those?
So the band and chorus have a history of every year being invited to certain events. So those are built into the budget. For athletics, although we don't know which teams are going to participate, we look at a running average of all the fees associated with sending teams to, the tournaments that we might not typically get to. And so that's built into the budget. This is something that I would propose building into the budget now that this is 2 years in a row that we're seeing this request. But as of right now, it's not currently built into the budget.
Are you anticipating asking for any student participation in the cost?
Like scholarships?
No, I mean, like I know when I just know about the band because I had kids in the band, but
Sure.
They pay a portion of it.
Yes. Yep. So right now, the cost if the students cover 2 chaperones would be $2,339 per, somewhere around there per student when you allocate the additional cost of the
One
chaperone.
of the chaperones is free, right?
So one is free, but it's really built into the student cost.
Yeah.
We're required to have a second chaperone, and so we would allocate that cost to the students, divide that by 9 and tack it on. So it's maybe it's like $2,100, $2,200. Without funding the $7,500, that entire $7,500 would be allocated to those 9 students.
To be divided by 9.
So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to understand is,
Yeah.
Under the proposal that you are describing,
Mhm.
how much will the individual students pay approximately? Not a,
Okay, give me
Are
one-
we talking hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars?
So let's see,
To be $833 less than what the total is,
1939.
right? Because you're going to take the $7,500 and allocate it to 9 students.
So the way I'm proposing, where the district covers the $7,500, each student would pay $2,198.
Okay. I thought what you were saying is the $7,500 you've got money for, but you don't have it for an additional amount.
No, I would like to cover the cost of the $7,500 and have the students pay $2,198 each, rather than adding another just under $1,000, $889 per pupil.
Okay. So the amount that's in the fund that can cover a portion of it is how much? You said there is some money already there.
We have line items.
I'm just wondering how much you're looking to take that wasn't budgeted.
Sure. As of right now, we have $1,500 in that line. So I'd be looking to move an additional $6,000.
Okay.
Does
That
that
is-
clarify it for you
That
for
answers my
deliberation?
questions, yes,
Okay,
thank
Great,
you.
Good.
thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions on that?
Tom covered it.
Tom covered it, great.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
As always.
Okay,
Dug a hole 6
Mr.
feet
Pinkasek,
deep.
we can take the next piece of public input now, before we move on to discussion.
Yeah, so this is just a public
Come,
service.
please come to the mic, because the public won't hear you.
This is just a public service announcement. So I'm coming up in July next year is the 250th anniversary of America. right? And so I'm on the planning board in Hollis for our celebration for that event.
Can I just interrupt you? What's the name of that committee?
It's the Hollis 250th America Birthday Committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And so I'm the vice chairman on that. And so we have a 2-week celebration coming up. So on July 4th, we're going to have a piece of the celebration at Monument Square, and we'll have the reading of the Declaration of Independence, Pledge of Allegiance. I have Bruce Moran, who's with the VFW there, going to recite the Old Glory poem with the flag. Right, so we have a lot of things happening there on the 4th of July. And then on the 11th at the Lawrence Barn, we have a potluck dinner, we have live music, we have the Slackas. I don't know if you know
We're
Chris
familiar,
Luce here
yeah.
and
Yeah,
Deb,
yes, Chris.
right? But so they're going to be playing there live. And and we have events for the kids, we have a parade, we have fireworks, so it's going to be a big thing. We are looking for volunteers to help execute the 2 days, right? So if you can distribute that information and request, it would be helpful.
So I believe that we have community flyers. Do we still do community flyers? So at the bottom of our principals' newsletters, you can submit a flyer of information. I think it gets submitted to the SAU office. It should say on it that it's not a school-sponsored event, because it isn't. And if you submit that to the office, to the SAU office, they can approve it, and then it can get disseminated through all of the schools, right?
Yes.
So, obviously, yours would be focused on the Hollis schools, so it'd be the elementary school, the upper, and these 2 schools. And then parents and families will see it.
Yeah, so it's a joint Hollis and Brookline
Okay, so if
event.
it is,
All
then it
6
should go to
schools, yeah.
Brookline as well, then. Yes.
that we're doing.
Okay.
And I've written an article about it. We don't have everything finalized yet, but we're pretty close.
Okay.
And that'll be published in the March Positively Hollis newspaper that gets mailed out
Yep.
to everybody. I've been working with Liz on that.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that would be great. That's a
So
good.
your committee has to come up with a flyer and send it to the SAU, and then
Yep.
it can get sent
Okay,
out.
and
Okay,
I have one, so.
Okay,
we're
great.
Good. Okay, great.
Might I
Thank you.
add one more piece of information? You can communicate with Principal Hess to work with the National Honor Society, because there are students who are always looking for volunteer opportunities.
Which honor society?
National Honor Society, the students are always looking for volunteer opportunities, so they might be able to support.
Okay, good, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we need people to help
Yep.
with traffic control and, just generally running the operations that we're gonna have there. This is gonna be an old home days magnitude activity, so.
and the Hollis Brookline Booster Club is also an athletic
Yeah.
booster club is another organization that you can reach out to for volunteers.
We've got them engaged, we've got the Hollis Garden Society.
Yep, yep.
We have the Daughters of the
Great.
American Revolution engaged, so, yeah, so
Okay.
we're doing all that, so that's
Thank you,
good.
Aaron.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to discussion. If there are any other questions on that.
Oh, do we want Sam to?
Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Sam?
She's chomping at the bit, so I want to make sure she.
Yes. You know what, I think we need to put that on the agenda.
Yes, sorry.
I think we need it to be number 4 after that. It would be helpful to me to have student council report. That would be really helpful, Sam, because I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
No, you're good. So,
Thanks, Jake.
the senior class is putting on a winter formal on the 31st of January. This is like a new dance for the school, and it's like, the senior class hope it's a good fundraiser for them. And then the student council is starting to plan for upcoming Spirit Week events at the end of February, where each grade comes with a theme and a skit and dance, and they present it in front of the school at assembly.
Great, thank you for that update. All right, thanks so much, Sam. So I'll give you the little spiel that I give every student who comes. You're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, because it is scintillating and so interesting, but you also, after your report, are welcome to leave. I'm looking at the agenda, and I don't see, sometimes there are things that really are important to our students. I don't see anything except for maybe the driver's ed question, but other than that, I think, there's not a lot that you would probably dig into, but you're welcome to stay. Or leave whenever you feel so. Okay, discussion. So first item of business on the discussion that we just added is the calendar. I believe if you check the calendar, February 19th is a Thursday. and that is our joint meeting with the, co-op BudCom. I did not reach out to Darlene. Is she aware that that's our meeting?
She is, because
Okay.
that's our public hearing.
So although technically we're scheduled for a meeting on the
What date are you
18th,
saying?
February
Oh,
19th.
February.
So it would be a Thursday instead of a Wednesday, and I wanted to make sure everybody was okay with it being like our public hearing, because we have to have the public hearing on the 19th. So is everyone okay with us just having one meeting, public hearing, combined budget committee and board meeting?
So you're talking about not meeting on Wednesday?
We would not meet on February 18th, we would meet on February 19th, which would be duly posted and everyone would be aware, but since we are all Wednesday night people, I wanted to make sure that we all are aware that that's a Thursday night and that we're gonna do a combined meeting, as we've done before in the past, and we'll have our public hearing.
Would we start at 6 to do board business?
I think starting at 6 is wise. I think the budget committee usually starts at 6:30, right? But if we have something that we wanna do board-wise that's not related to the public hearing, we could start at 6, and then the public hearing would start at 6:30, is that right? And then the BudCom meeting would start after that.
Is this a question or a statement, though?
It's a question for you to make sure that everyone is okay with that. I'm not-
I personally will have a conflict, but I am one.
Okay, so we have to meet on the 19th for the public hearing, so that's a definite. I'm just wondering if you want to meet on the 18th too.
And that will be when we take positions on the warrant as well, correct?
Yes,
So that's an important one.
it's an important one. But because of the 30 days and all the rules that we
No,
have
no,
to
I'm
meet
just-
on the
I'm just-
19th.
I-
Yeah.
We gotta.
I don't want to meet on the 18th and the 19th personally. I think that would be
No, I'm
silly.
just saying,
So,
what can we do to get people there on the 18th, on the 19th?
meaning human beings to
No, our
public
board.
input.
I wanna make sure we've got the majority, cause
Right.
when we don't have that on the position statements.
That's
it-
very true.
It causes issues.
So Kate can't be there. Can everyone else be there that's here? Can you be there, Tom? You're the only person
Yeah, I already had
Okay,
that.
okay.
I had both dates on my
Okay,
calendar.
so we'll have at least 5 of us. I'd have to text Beth and
Yeah.
double check with her. But I think Wednesdays are actually harder for her than Thursdays, so. And she is watching, so I hope that she will give me feedback. So we'll meet on the 19th. So then that covers us for February. But I thought, since I had you all here and we could talk about the calendar, it's our tradition usually in March to only have our annual meeting, which is scheduled for
March 19th.
March 19th. And that would be our annual district meeting. I'm proposing that we not meet as a board in March, and that our next meeting would be April 8th, which is a little early in April for us, but it is the second Wednesday instead of the third. And that's really important that we set that April 8th meeting, because we need to do that before, we like to meet before the 15th because we have teacher contracts and stuff like that, that there's a deadline of the 15th for us. So that's my proposal, that we meet February 19th, one time only, then we meet again in March for the annual meeting, and then we meet on April 8th. The only thing that I don't know is if we're gonna have any special meetings because of petition warrant articles. Sometimes we have to have public hearings in Brookline and Hollis, so we don't have that information yet, but at least we could set our calendars. So does that work for everyone? Got it? Okay.
Question, do we have a snow date for the February 19th meeting?
Do we have a snow date for the February 19th
Is it
meeting?
the 20th?
I think it's the 20th, isn't
Okay.
it? I'm pretty sure.
Is
I
the
have
snow
it on my
date the 20th?
calendar. I think it's the day after.
Yeah, it's that whole week, it's the day after.
Yes.
First
Okay.
day.
Well, if it snows, I might not be here on the 20th, so.
Hang on. I think you're thinking of the March.
No, it's
I-
the 20th.
It's the snow.
February as well?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I.
Okay,
So February 20th is the snow date.
okay, thank you.
I might be in Colorado. I don't know. Or I might not be in Colorado because
February 28th is the.
20th.
20th.
Oh, 20th.
The February 20th is the snow day for the public hearing, and March
gotcha.
20th is the snow day for
The annual meeting.
the annual meeting. Is that also a Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
You
Yes.
want the week before on Friday the 13th?
The calendar's so much fun. Okay, so is everyone clear on that? Okay, thank you all for bearing with me on that one. So, moving forward, discussion item. We don't have anything on this, but driver's ed, you're just speaking to it?
Okay, so a driver's ed company reached out to me to request our facilities use form, to which I shared the link. And if you look at the form and the categories and the request, it becomes a little bit cost prohibitive to follow our policy exactly with the number of hours they'd be requesting to use a classroom to hold driver's ed for our students immediately after school. This would be not a school-sponsored event. We'd have no liability. They'd hold their own liability insurance, et cetera. This is something that this company has done at a few different high schools further west. And so they were hoping to kind of create an opportunity.
You put a link in?
I'm sorry?
You said there was a link?
I sent a link to the facilities use form where it references
Oh, sent to them, not to us.
sent to them, yes. And anyway, so the request was made, is there an opportunity to lower that fee? And I said, well, it's a board policy, so I'd have to bring it to the board. Some districts have lowered the fee because it's 2 hours after school, twice a week, the custodian's already there, so we don't really need to add custodial coverage, et cetera. Some districts have chosen to waive the fee only if they relay the discount onto our students. So if you have an enrolled pupil, reducing the cost of the driver's ed for the families. So like I said, it's a board policy in terms of the cost, and I didn't know if, I'd like to request that we consider waiving the fee and offering that discount to the students. My thought as a parent who has gone through driver's ed is that it would be probably well received by the community if there was one less pick up and drop off for something of this sort. But
I just want to comment a little, and I hope that Corey Kaufman watches this. Is that his Corey Kaufman? Right? Caulfield. Sorry. I went to
Caulfield, sorry.
I went to a Project Citizen 2 years ago or last year, and one of the topics was the fact that we no longer offer driver's ed in our high school. The kids were, they had, why did we stop it? It was something that we did offer, and it stopped after 2020 for various reasons, and this is a different company, different group, but I just thought that was really interesting, and I would like that to get back to him. that actually resonated with me, and here I am sitting here thinking about it with this proposal. So it seems like it's something that students and families would appreciate. And it would certainly be super convenient to be after school.
You need a motion for,
Well, this is a discussion item tonight, so I think this is one of those things where we can talk about it, question it, and then we would put it on as a deliberative item next month, or does it have to be, it would have to be soon, I would assume they'd like to get in. Is this for next year, or is this something they'd start?
I think the sooner the better.
Right.
This discussion started back in November
Okay.
with them, so.
Okay. Tom?
A couple of questions. Is there, how many students can they have in a class, do you know? Here's where I'm going with it. I would support it if it is primarily for the benefit of HB students. I'm not particularly supportive of it as us making it a low-cost location for them to hold their classes. So,
Like, can we put a guideline on it that only HB students can take this class at HB? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I got the impression that they weren't looking to have it exclusively for HB students, were they?
I don't think they would necessarily restrict it. We could put that on them, but they do have, their main office is a few miles down the road. So I don't think they're looking simply to get rid of their main office. They're looking to provide convenience. I see them pick up students from Hollis Brookline all the time for their driving hours, so I know they have quite a few students from Hollis Brookline. So I think they were just looking to create an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm supportive of it if it benefits our students and that it provides a substantial benefit, not like a $10 discount kind of thing. The second thing is, if we do it for this school, would we do it for any of the other competitive schools? So are we prepared? There's probably 3 or 4 that are really close, and they all go for the same students, and usually the biggest choice for people is who's got an opening on the day that the kids are available and the parents can get them there.
Yep.
So if we got approached by 2 other schools that says, well, you're doing it with this school on Wednesday, can I have Thursday? Would we be inclined to accommodate requests such as that? So I asked that board consider that, because if we're doing it for only one, I think we might be opening ourselves up for complaints if we do it that way.
Agreed. This is the first time someone reached out it was simply a facilities use request, and then the fees, like I said, just sparked the discussion. So I don't
If we're not doing a discount, I don't have any concerns about it being just one because of somebody, but if we're discounting it as a thing, that's the part that I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, even if HB students could have a sort of a priority enrollment time where
I think for convenience that a lot more parents would be looking at that particular company if this was available, because trying to get them somewhere right after school is the big issue. And they're not driving. Huge.
So I think those are good questions, maybe to go back to them and see if they would like prioritize HB students. If they prioritize HB students, if they would restrict it, if they would even consider restricting it to HB students only, if we were gonna waive the fees so that they could provide a discount, maybe it would be good to know like how much the discount would be, like what kind of help we would be giving the students. I think that would be good information.
I don't mean to cause conflict, but I think it'd be good if they don't have to restrict it, as long as they get priority, because that way it makes it more economically feasible if they can make the class full.
So you don't want it restricted, it's okay, you just want the HB students to get priority.
I don't want HB students to be turned away if they want it and there's room.
Okay.
Do you know how much they're asking us to discount the rate? Did they ask for a specific amount or just say, can you do that?
I believe for one course, which would be 15 classes, I want to say we would end up charging them $2,000, and I think the request was, would you consider $1,000? And Conval has requested that they discount the course by $25. I believe the course is somewhere around $800, and they asked if they would drop it to $775. So I'm just sharing what came
So
to
those
me.
I'm almost of the opinion that if they will do it for the benefit of HB students and give a substantial discount, I'd forego
What's substantial?
15-20%. Because if you look at economies of scale, if you can get a lot of people all in one room, and you don't have to pay for the place. What I was saying is that I would contemplate waiving it, because that to me is a benefit of the students, as opposed to it being an outside organization.
Okay. I think you have enough to go on. Does that satisfy the board? Is that enough to go on? Okay. So we'll hopefully put that on for February. I know that we are going to have limited time, but maybe we can get it. Maybe we can get time for that in February. Possibly. Did you make a note of that? Okay. So moving on to the revenue and expense report. Can I ask a question for the principal's sake? Like, how much do we?
No.
Okay. So, gentlemen, we're moving into budget and stuff like that. So if you feel like you need to stay, you're welcome to stay. But you also, we don't see anything that we really need you here for. So, but we love having you. So don't feel like you're being kicked out. but you
Some of
are
your
welcome to go
families,
home.
So if you want to go.
Right. We'll just text your wives and say that you chose to stay.
John, do you
Holly, you wanna
need
try that?
anything from me for the policy stuff? I know the memo, like, felt good about that
I
stuff.
think it was fine, because the graduation stuff isn't the first time.
Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. All right. So, moving on, revenue and expense report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You want candy for the road?
Do you want some candy?
Always.
Seriously, take the candy. The bowl ends up by Mr. Solomon, and I in the chair.
And he
I don't wanna
hoards
keep
it.
Move it around.
I just came late.
Okay, so, revenue and expense report?
Sure. All right, so our regular education line items, we have a balance of nearly $300,000, and that's due to both hiring savings and vacancies. Our special ed line, we have a balance of $240,428. That is due to some out-of-district tuition savings. We're likely to see that increase as well as we get further along in the year.
We think that balance number is gonna go up?
Yep, the 240, yes. The vocational program, I'm happy to report that we are well over budget by $35,000 due to our enrollment numbers in CTE increasing. And then we are seeing a positive balance in all of our line items. Savings in contracted services. We needed fewer hours with summer temporary help in IT. We just processed fewer professional development reimbursements. So far, we have not utilized our contingency. Oil costs are lower than budgeted. That's due to our switch over from oil to propane. Transportation has decreased. So last year we were still supporting year 2 students in Milford. This year we are not. We switched over simply to Alvern and Nashua programming. So therefore we have a healthy savings in vocational ed transportation as well as special ed transportation. With hiring savings, that means we're going to have savings in our benefits line as well. So both due to vacancies, hiring savings and plan selection. So overall, we see that we are doing really well with a balance of over almost $1.4 million. If you look over at our revenue, we're also doing well. We are bringing in more money than we had budgeted. So if you add those together and then you subtract out a requirement for a transfer from food service, we're looking at $1,474,040. If we were to, these are certainly placeholders, but as of right now, we're proposing $300,000 for maintenance trust. So if we pull out the $300,000, if we were to hang on to a retained fund balance of around $376,443, that would be a decision we would make in August, September. If we were to move forward with a contingency fund, reducing that total balance by $801,000, we would still have a fund balance of $672,597. That is only expected to increase as we release additional funds. So we're in a really good place.
And some of our revenue from Medicaid should be increasing as well, which you can see we're well over what was budgeted.
What's the increase in
What
tuition?
did we do wrong?
Hmm?
This isn't a joke. What did we do wrong?
Yeah.
In budgeting?
Yeah. Because having this kind of surplus makes it difficult to go with the process that the budget committee currently uses to baseline off the previous year.
A lot of it is special education placement that cannot be predicted.
So that's, is that the biggest area that's impacting?
It's one of them. It's not the only one.
Well, but special education bleeds over into many lines.
Correct.
Because of that.
It
So
bleeds into transportation,
if that
bleeds
is the case, I know that you can't go into detail.
Correct.
But I think it's incredibly important that be publicized, or not publicized, but be made apparent. And then the question becomes, do we take that into account when we try to reserve that chunk that we want to give back?
Sure. And, that's exactly the conversation I had with Lance, our business administrator, and Lauren. This year in particular, with the higher dollars amount in savings, when looking at this $672,000 projected fund balance, like I said, which is only going to increase, typically we say we want to give $200,000 back. I would like to say, let's make sure that that's closer to 400 or 500, knowing that when we've asked for special ed funds, we've been given it, and so now we need to release it in the same way. The only thing that I want to remind you of, when we first started talking about the budget, there was an item, the elevator, that we were putting away year after year. We have transferred some of the money from special ed into getting the elevator on track, just because there was the 52-week lead time. So if we waited for the maintenance trust, we wouldn't be able to cover that.
And that is a valid requirement for that portion of our population.
Right, but it wasn't exactly what this was budgeted for, but it's within the same category, so I felt like that is something I could support and advocate for. But yes, your point is well taken, that we want to make sure we reserve the funds. How do we do this? I think another question that I've had for years that I'm starting to, I guess, get a better handle on now that I'm in this role and working closely with our business administrator in a different capacity than in years past. When we've requested to pre-buy items, we've done that. We've pre-purchased items, which frees up money the following year. You're just delaying the fund balance, and it grows year to year. So unless we're looking at the capital improvement plan and saying, look at this balance, it would be great if we move forward on an item that was in our capital improvement plan for FY28. Then we're really maximizing what we've budgeted with a fund balance. Because if I just pre-buy something from 27, well, I already have the money allocated in a budget, let's say, that passes in March. So now I'm creating a problem for next year. And then it just continues.
What I was thinking of, and I don't know if the board would be willing to do this, but at our next meeting, when we're going to be having a budget hearing and all that, to take a position that says, and it doesn't necessarily have to be binding, but at least a public statement that barring a currently unanticipated major change, that our intention is to set the minimum at, I would advocate for, based on the numbers you're showing me, at 500,000, but to pick a number.
To give back to the taxpayer.
To make that statement in conjunction with the hearing and the presentation, so that people who hear the big number also hear the intent to buy it down with the surplus.
I 100% agree with all of that. When we do that, and I think we do need to give the money back to the taxpayer, obviously, but I think we also need to be very clear at our meeting or in the future, and I know our chair of the budget committee does a really good job of this. When we did that in the past, like after COVID, and we had like a $1.5–2 million savings, surplus that got applied to the following year budget, then our budget didn't look like it grew. Like, it didn't. And then when you see that, when that doesn't happen, then the budget does grow. Like, we have to articulate that as clearly as we can to the voters, because it is, a budget that we're doing great, and we do have a surplus, and we do want to give it back, obviously. But then we have to make sure that, like, if next year what happens is the reverse. Like, this year we may have had some students move out of district, but when they come back, when somebody comes back in, or something happens, or when we have regular education hiring savings, it means we're hiring people at less than what we anticipated. But we may have a year where we have to go higher than what we anticipate, right? So I just want to make sure that we're clear with the public, and we're explaining that, and and so I think it's really important, you're right, Tom, to sort of take a position on that, and you, somebody better than me, explain it, because I'm not good at that.
But it's not so much the explaining, it's us as a board agreeing that we are going to make this, and I'll have to call it, I think at this point it would still have to be a non-binding commitment, because
yeah, we can't bind ourselves to
that. It's based on where we end up, but based on the trends that we're seeing, this is our target.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think, I see eyebrows going.
Yeah.
No, it's aspirational. It's what we
No.
intend to do if we can do it. We're broadcasting that
Right.
we're intent
Kate, what's your
give back
concern?
500,000.
No, I think it's transparent, which is good.
Yeah, and I think it's, I mean, barring something happening that's beyond our control, like that, you know, we need to use $500,000 for something that we have to use it for, I mean, another pandemic or whatever,
Or
like
some-
then,
Or
right.
some combination of population comes into the
Change,
district
right.
that isn't there.
But barring that, but we should make that clear, I think that's a great idea, and we can do that next month.
Well,
But
I think doing it in a public, here's the hard part. People tend to hear budgets keep going up. People don't tend to hear that they get money back in their taxes. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I've said it in conversation, and they're like, "We don't get money back." Like,
Because
no,
it
no,
doesn't
you
actually
abs-
come back to you, it just,
It
offsets.
right.
it offsets,
right.
so you don't get a check, I mean, you
But
don't get a check,
exactly,
you
you don't
just
get a check
get
in the
like,
mail.
right,
But you know what I mean?
right.
People
we have
tend to hear
right.
the bad news. They
Right.
don't hear the good news. So I agree that you do have to be careful. You need to be thoughtful, not careful, but thoughtful about where we share this so that people do hear it, you know?
And
Right.
I think we should try to promote that when, in our
Yeah.
annual meeting.
Mhm.
Did you know that
Right.
you got back, you know, we offsetted $700,000 last
Right.
year that came back to the general fund. So, you know, as much as we're out there saying, this is the budget, we need this budget, we need it funded, we also need to promote the fact that some of this money does go back to the general fund.
We have to budget for worst case.
Right.
We don't.
We gotta run the
We
school.
don't have the option of
Yes.
budgeting for the average.
Right.
Correct.
My question to you is, I have a budget committee meeting tomorrow night. Are you comfortable with me conveying a similar message to
Yes,
them?
I think the board's
I
in the
am.
consensus.
Yeah.
I mean, is there, Amy, Cindy, are you good?
Do
Yeah,
you know
and
who's gonna be there? Is Lance gonna be there, or is?
I assume so.
Okay, if you wanna just warn him.
so, and I know that this is it's off the topic, but in terms of the annual meeting and what Rob is saying and us promoting it, like in the past, for the past 5 or 6 years, we've been so careful not to take any time at the meeting. Like we've been so conscious of the fact that our meetings go long that we haven't given, our superintendent has not really presented a state of the schools. And we're hoping that changes this year. I think it's really important with a new superintendent for her to get up, for you to get up and give a state of the schools, like
Yes,
a
state of the
talk about that.
schools.
And then potentially, maybe it is an opportunity for us to take some time and take 3 or 4 minutes and have somebody from the board. I mean, we have a great budget presentation by our chair of the budget committee, but maybe a little special thing just from the board.
I think it's essential because we have to show how we were transforming funds
Right.
into,
Right. So,
you know, outcomes.
so I think as we get closer to that meeting, and I usually touch base with the moderator, but I think I'm gonna push for obviously some time for the superintendent and maybe some time for the school board to just lay out. It's okay for us to do a presentation, we're allowed to, so, and then we can talk more offline about what we
If
wanna
we
do.
don't, people will fill that void.
Right. Yep.
And they have
Right.
in years prior.
Right.
People have filled in
Yes,
what
they
they want to
have.
fill in.
And so
People want to hear from us.
The risk is that the meeting goes 15 minutes longer, but the importance of having a public statement is important, so we'll work on that. Great. Okay, and are you done with the revenue and expense?
I am.
Oh, great. Any other questions on that? No? Okay. So next, moving forward is, hello. Sorry. The budget, FY '27 budget and new
Okay,
items.
so new items have not changed, but I thought it was important to continue to put the new items in the board packet. Happy to answer any questions about them. But there are some small items here and there that have changed in the actual budget. So it is ever so slightly different from the last month, in the good direction. So we're looking at $31,716,292. And so that puts us at $377,528 below guidance.
So you did a little bit more cutting,
Or
switching?
we got more actuals,
Okay.
so.
Where
So I didn't talk about the new items. The new items is exactly as you saw it last month. But if you look at the spreadsheet of the actual budget,
Oh, okay.
the
so-
very last
so is
page,
it in the summary of the new item summary or not?
Yeah,
not the new items, the lines, the budget.
page 37 on.
Oh, so all the little red highlighted things
Yep.
did they change from last month, or is that, those are just changes overall?
down.
Those are the
Those
ones
were
that went down.
changes
Okay.
that from FY '26 to FY
Okay.
'27 round 3.
Okay.
Like I said, there were small changes here and there just based on actual hires and actual quotes that came in. So that brought us down a little bit further below guidance. So right now, our budget FY '26 to '27 comes in at 3.76%.
Okay. And guidance was 4.1?
Guidance was a dollar amount of $32,093,820, and we came in at $31,716.
So $377,000 under.
Yeah.
And so what is, so the 417 is with all warrants, 4.17?
Correct. Yep. So so the next item on the agenda is the warrant. So we have a warrant article for year 2 of HESA for $131,512. We're proposing a $125,000 contingency to be funded from fund balance. We're proposing $300,000 for the maintenance trust funded from the fund balance. And so nothing for the special ed trust. And so yes, that brings us the total warrant to 4.17.
Have you budgeted any expectation in '27 for rebates from the project?
I knew you were going to ask that question. And I wanted to go back and look at all the minutes because we were so uncertain about whether or not we didn't want to promise rebates. We were very transparent about that. So I'm trying to go back and see, what did we say we would do? Because, for example, a smaller rebate,
What did you do so far?
we haven't done anything.
Okay.
So far, we signed off on a work completion of the boiler replacement here at the middle school. There is a smaller rebate associated with that. The larger ones, are the solar panels that have arrived, and we're storing them, and we have a battery that's being stored as well. And so my question is, what did we say we were going to do with those rebates? To the point of, if we just apply them to the budget, then that's going to artificially deflate,
No,
So what?
we didn't, I don't know that it was stated explicitly. I know that within the facilities discussions, the expectation was that it would be used, and we didn't know how it could be because it being a bond, but it was going to be used to pay for those items.
Mhm.
As opposed to, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you can apply it directly to it, or if you just have to do it as an offsetting calculation in the budget.
And the big question in my mind is, would you want that applied over X number of years, the life of the bond, or would you want?
No,
'Cause
the
if
way
we pay for
the
year-
way that it was displayed, and Mike Davies created it, is the first year was low. The second year was high because we were at the full payment of the bond, but there was no rebate. The third and fourth years were low because the rebates came in. And I don't know if it's an accurate accounting under the bond versus the lease, because they were originally generated with the
For the
thought
lease.
of the lease. But then, because the principal had been reduced substantially, the subsequent payments reduced. Now, I don't think that happens with the bond. The interest payments, I think, are fixed regardless.
Yeah, so the lease was far more flexible with prepayment, et
So
cetera.
we may have to look at it, but the idea was originally
Okay.
that when you get that chunk of money,
Apply it toward the principal. Yeah, so we'll look into the actual bond and what our options are. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll get back to us on that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions?
well, I was just wondering, are we expecting any substantial rebate revenue in the FY '27?
Yes. So we have to have all of the projects complete prior to being eligible for the rebate. Well, we're eligible because we've
No, I understand.
safe harbored,
To
but
get-
we're not going to actually get a rebate until everything is installed. So the installation of the solar is to happen over this summer. So as soon as those are complete and we sign off saying that the work is complete, then we apply for the rebate.
And
Do
we
they,
don't know how long
do
that
they
takes.
pay it within the same fiscal year?
I believe so, yeah.
So we could potentially get the rebate for the high school solar in FY '27.
Correct.
Thank you.
Would,
Alright.
just so I'm clear, so we would take those rebate funds and apply that to our bond payments?
Well, that's what we don't
To
know
the
what we
principal?
can do with it yet.
We're not sure. I'm
Well,
going to look into
to
that.
The payment, whatever it's principal or otherwise, it's
It
just.
may be more than the payment for the year, though. That's the issue. If you can't pay down principal, if you can only use it,
Yeah.
almost like you'd have to escrow it, Rob.
Right,
What,
and you draw from it and use it to make payments, right? Because otherwise, I don't think that bond was structured to pay principal. I don't know, you'd have to.
we do have a principal and interest separate line items here. You can see that at the last page of the budget.
Okay,
That being said, what I do believe we can refinance. So if that's an option, then my assumption is that we can refinance, make a lump sum payment, and so we're refinancing a smaller dollar amount. But I'll look into all of our options.
yeah,
And-
that'd be nice to see. And if the rebates are substantial enough to make it make sense to refi, because I know there's cost and
Yep.
paperwork and time and effort just to
Attorney
do
fees.
that, so,
Especially if interest rates are down.
well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You have to, you have a
It's
lot to
whole-
crunch.
whole analysis,
You and Lance
right.
can crunch a lot of things. That
Well, I
sounds
just
great.
want to have that in our minds.
No,
so
it's
when
great.
when they ask the questions, we've already
No, I think that's
thought about it. It's
all
okay to say
very-
we don't know, but I don't
Well,
know.
I have a feeling that the people who supported this is expecting us to do something like this with
Right.
the rebates.
Yes,
Right, and not
absolutely.
just net it out on the
Right.
budget line, right?
Okay. All right, moving on to the warrant, the draft warrant. Am I supposed to read this whole thing, or can we just look at it?
No, I think we can look at it. I'll just point out a couple of things. So most of these warrant articles are boilerplate. We see them all the time. There's some slight changes in the wording, and that's based on our new legal counsel, just kind of reorganizing some of those. Specifically, Article 1 just looks a little bit different than in years past. That's the SAU budget. Legally, we're now required to put the SAU budget first.
Oh, is that brand new?
That's brand new.
Okay, I was wondering why it was there.
Yeah, so that's why you see that there. The only thing that can come before it are
Bonds?
bonds and collective bargaining agreements, I believe. So there it is, item number 1. But that's typical of 1,230,494 would be the co-op's portion of the SAU budget.
Did they
Our-
change the time on it? Is it still an hour vote?
It's still an hour vote, yeah. A 5-minute vote.
Oh, wait, hold on, now we're checking time. Public input's closed. And it has been 7:13. It's been open for a while, but yeah, it's closed now.
Okay, moving on to Article 2. I don't think anything has changed with the wording of this article. This is just the budget article. Article 3, it used to say cost of items, now it's cost items. But
Can
it's,
we
a
go
s-
back to Article 2 for a
Sure.
second? Does this reflect any work that was done regarding talking about
test scores.
changes in the cost of the healthcare? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, this negotiation for HESA.
Well, that would be Article 3, right?
Well,
No, Article 2, yeah.
they just met for the first time yesterday, so there's
Oh,
nothing.
I'm on the wrong article, I'm sorry.
That's okay. There's nothing in this warrant for any new discussions that have come up this year. All right, so Article 2 is the budget. Article 3 was HESAP. This is just year 2 of what we already presented last year. Article 4 is the school building and facilities maintenance expendable trust fund, so $300,000. And the items that I moved from the budget to the maintenance trust total $300,000. So our starting and ending balance would be roughly the same. Article 5 is 125,000 contingency fund, funded from the fund balance. So same old, same old.
We don't need to have a retained fund one anymore, right? 'Cause we,
That one you just vote on.
okay.
You're permitted to do that. Oh, okay. Article 6. So this is a brand new article. So last year there was a lot of discussion up at the state about open enrollment. Open enrollment did not pass, but years ago, 2 school districts identified themselves as open enrollment districts, meaning they would take non-resident pupils. And then the sending schools would pay the tuition. It didn't move forward on the state level last year. However, some students left their district and attended these open enrollment schools, to which the open enrollment schools sent a bill to the sending district. The sending district chose not to pay because they never determined themselves as an open enrollment school district. That went to court, and the outcome was that, nope, you have to pay. So this year, school districts are looking to create certainty around whether or not the district is considered an open enrollment district to provide some stability, some financial stability for the district. So our 2 elementary districts are moving forward with a 0 out. 1 student, a non-resident student, can come in. The recommendation for the co-op is that the middle school remains 0 out, 0 in. The high school would be 0 out, but we would allow up to 5 students in. It's easier to fit 5 students in at the high school with course selection, et cetera. And then we would bill the sending districts 80%. They would have to pay us 80% of their per pupil expenditure. Probably works out in our favor, as our per pupil expenditure tends to be lower than our surrounding districts. So
It's the state per pupil expenditure, right?
nope, it's
No,
their
the-
district.
The sending,
Their district.
the sending districts.
Right, but it's the state number.
Oh, yes,
It's
yes,
not the,
Yes,
it's
yes,
not,
yes,
some,
yes,
some
yes,
members
yes,
of our
yes,
community
yes,
use a
yes.
different number. It's the number that the state
The
determines
DOE
as
25
DOE.
calculation,
Okay.
yes. So what could happen at annual meeting is the article could be amended in any possible direction to make us completely open enrollment or to shut this down or whatever, bless you. But I feel that it is in the district's best interest to have the legislative body take a stand as to whether or not we will pay for students to go elsewhere by their own choice. And so that is this warrant article.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Could we just say we don't want to be an open enrollment school?
So that we could. However, most attorneys now are feeling that that wouldn't hold up in the court of law, because if we vote to say we are not sending out and we are not accepting, then we haven't made a change. So we haven't actually adopted open enrollment. This is demonstrating that we're adopting it, but we're placing limits on it.
Kind of like our apportionment formula where we only take $1.
$1, yeah.
It's just like it.
Which they overrode too. Should it be explicitly stated that middle school in is 0% in it?
If that's what you want,
No, but I
No,
mean-
no, I that's how it was originally stated. I can't tell you how many times I've had to retype this warrant article with new thoughts back and forth with legal counsel and different districts and what are you doing and what are you doing. So at one point the middle school was in as 0 in, 0 out. So I can absolutely work
I'm
that
just
back
saying
in.
I think we need to do
We
that.
specify
I
all
agree.
other
Yeah.
3 conditions.
Yeah.
I don't know how the absence of a statement would be interpreted.
I agree.
I think it should reflect what we're going to do with the middle school as well.
I
Agreed.
agree.
When we say 5 students, non-resident students tuitioning in, we do have a policy or not a policy, I don't want to use the word policy, but we have tuition in students of staff members. Would those people count?
No, so any students that are part of the policy JFAB would not count for this.
So best interest, like if we have a.
That
if
would
we
be
have a best
totally
interest
different.
Coming from another, doesn't apply to this. This is just someone who just wants to come to our school.
Like the 10 calls we get every day.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so we would, and then my other question is, are we allowed, or I don't know what the law is, because they haven't passed a law, but are we allowed to have a criteria for the students who are coming in, like an application process?
Yeah. So there
It's
is,
just a question.
that's a huge question. That's part of why this didn't pass last year. The state was like, you haven't thought of this, you haven't thought of that. They're working again this year to come up with new language. There's legislation out there also that says you don't get to restrict open enrollment. So there are just quite a few different thoughts and feelings on it. There's a lot of uncertainty.
There's funding questions.
Right.
For special education, other
There's
colleges.
just a lot.
We'll have to
That,
build on
that
the
is
school, 'cause everyone
specified, isn't it, that the sending district has to cover those costs?
Right, but what about the
Correct, but
additional
there is
costs?
some ambiguity, but yes, but true, but there would be, but that's if we send students out, we'd be responsible and they
Yeah.
would be responsible if they came in.
I think one of the things, Holly, that you gotta keep in mind is the intent of the program is to essentially extend and homologate public schools.
I understand what the intent is.
So my
yeah.
guess is that we don't get to pick and choose.
Right.
What I'm wondering is it first come, first served? Or is it a lottery? Or if 10 students want to be considered for open enrollment,
For the 5 spots, right?
what's the methodology?
Selection.
So although we don't have room in our elementaries, it's a little bit easier there because we are to identify capacity. So we have let's say 2 spots in 4th grade, 0 spots in 5th grade, 0 spots in 6th grade.
I know when I attended the webinar from NHSBA, Will talked about you
Programs.
can get very definitive in where you're going to allow it. So for instance, his example is we will accept 4 students into into our AP Physics program.
AP French.
We will accept 2 in AP French, and we'll accept no others.
Yeah, and or our such and such program. We don't really have specialty programs that we would allow access into, so it looks a little different. We could set up a restriction like that.
But we can't put any of that in the warrant. So the warrant is really
No,
just,
he was saying that is
That
how you
put it in the
construct the
warrant.
warrant.
you can put it in the warrant
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
only
So
accept people.
so
right.
he said, be as specific as you can, because whatever you don't specify, you can't, they're not sure you'll be able to specify it later.
Right. So some districts are saying you can only come in if you're a senior.
And there's
Some
no
dist-
guarantee within the open enrollment program that if you're admitted for 1 year, that you'll get it another year.
Correct. There are some programs that will only open up their kindergarten because they have half-day kindergarten. And it might not be a desirable
So
place
but
to go.
your advice or your feeling at this point is just 5 students at the high school is manageable.
Is manageable.
Is manageable, and it doesn't open us up, and it gives us a restriction, so if this becomes law, we should be okay, but we can't guarantee anything because it's the way the legislation passes.
And what would be your response to a motion from the floor to say that number should be 10 students? Do we have a reason that is there something that really drove that 5?
A low number. I would say that there are so many unknowns at this point and so many questions that we don't have answers to that we need to start small before we open ourselves to unnecessary exposure.
So do we have, for next year only, do we have a known class that is either oversubscribed or undersubscribed? I don't mean a classroom, I mean
Sure.
a grade
A grade.
level.
So it's the graduating seniors that is a small class. But I'm not concerned about space. We could easily fit 5 more
Regardless of what,
students. Yeah.
so could could you fit 5 at every grade level?
That's where it becomes more problematic. That's where you would, because chances are 5 sophomores would all be taking world history, and that would drive an additional section of world history. And I don't want to create additional sections, you know, especially if we're voting in March, but we've done course enrollment in February, then I'm not going to have. I mean, I guess
So
that would be the answer.
Do
I
we
don't
want
have
to
room.
restrict it to juniors and seniors then?
Or 1 per grade. Yeah.
Or a maximum per grade, a maximum with no more than, a total of 5 and no more than 2 in any grade, or?
Yeah, that would be good
I
language.
think that's actually
That's a
smart.
good idea.
Mhm.
So a total of 5 and no more than 2 per grade level, or whatever the word you use to say
Right.
grade.
Yep.
I think that's good.
It's good feedback.
So we'll get that revised and we'll have it for
February.
February. And we can express some discussion on this on the floor, because like my questions, people are gonna ask those same questions.
Yeah.
So all of our questions, there's questions. So this is the warrant as of now. We do have one PWA.
We have one
about a
petition warrant article.
Charter commission.
So last year we saw the petition warrant article about establishing a charter commission. We saw it again this year. It followed the legal requirements. So that doesn't actually go here. That goes on the ballot
And that's the only PWA?
so far.
That goes, is that
When is it-
it's a
when does it
ballot
end? Is it
item?
30th?
I don't have that in front of
I
me.
didn't know if it was the same as when you can file for office.
Oh, no, but that was the item for correspondence that I was going to mention. The filing dates are open now for the open seats on the school board and budget committee. They opened today, the 21st, and they close on January 30th. So there's that. So that if the budget calendar that I don't have open right now, I don't know if someone can open that for me. That tells us the last day for petition warrant articles. I just don't have that memorized.
Could you do me a favor, and could you forward the petition warrant article
Yep.
to us so that we can see it?
Absolutely.
I want to learn, because it probably references the RSAs and stuff
Correct.
in it.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
And that goes on the ballot? That's just by law, that one goes on the ballot?
correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's why it's not on, there's no petition warrant articles on here yet. But if they're within the deadline, then we'll see them at the public hearing. Right.
And just to alert you,
It's February 9th.
February 9th is the last day for petition warrant articles. But to alert you, Article 6, if we move forward with an open enrollment article, that has to be noticed separately. It can still be on February 19th of the public hearing, but it has to have a separate notice.
A separate notice, but not a separate hearing.
Correct. Well, in Brookline, it has to have a separate hearing because it doesn't fall within the dates. This
Okay.
date works.
Okay.
But I'm going to hold on the same day. The notice will look funny.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, is everyone good with that? Can we move on to the Town of Hollis Capital Expenditure Advisory Committee update? And Rob sent us something today, but it wasn't in the packet.
It wasn't meant to necessarily go through it, but I just wanted members to have it as a reference. So this is a culmination of our work since September, early September when we first met. So it shows several tabs across the bottom. The main tab would be your comprehensive tab, which shows what's happening in the Hollis district schools, co-op, and also what's happening at the town of Hollis. So it breaks that out and gives you a 5-year projection of what is happening, what big initiatives are going, and so forth. So I just wanted folks to have that. I suspect there'll be some other modifications coming. Yep.
10 years.
Well, it's 10 years, but the schools have only given 5 data. I know that at least the co-op, we've only given 5 years of CIP information.
Huh, they listed, they put something in all 10 years.
Yeah, I don't have that.
So is this something that we can share in our minutes, or is this something that is being shared at the town level or is this not shared yet?
Oh, I was
Like,
looking pretty.
Well, so we talked about that as committee members, and we felt that, you know, we present to the selectmen, or the select board. And we do a walkthrough of the projections and so forth. But we felt that the representatives to each of the schools, school districts would bring this to their district. So
Okay.
the committee's not gonna come here and present to us.
Right.
So I'm bringing it here so you at least see what the work is, what the projections are, and what the Hollis Select Board is seeing, you're seeing.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on this? And I haven't had a chance to really like look at it and
No,
read
and
through it.
it's just so
Maybe
you
it would
have
be
a copy.
better topic for
We can always talk about
February
it
or March,
further.
yeah.
And maybe by the time we're ready to talk about it, I'll have a fresh update.
And I was just curious because it wasn't part of our packet, and we generally try to be relatively transparent about what we're
Yeah.
looking at. Is it something that can be attached to the current packet? Is it something that we could share via our minutes, or is it something that at this point is not ready for public consumption?
It's a public document. We've already presented it in public already, so it's, there may be changes and refinements going forward, but there's nothing secret about it.
So maybe I can forward it to Emmy, and she could link
Could you
on
forward it
the-
to me?
Could
So I-
forward it to you,
yeah.
and then you can
Link it.
link it to the, yeah, we'll do that. I'm not gonna do that right this second, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
That's fine.
Okay, remind me if I forget. Okay, so that way it'll get under, and it can be attached to our agenda. That'd be great. Okay,
Just one other note.
thank you
so-
for sharing that.
Yeah, sure. The consolidated view, the years that have at the bottom that show red, which means that this would be dollars that would need to be raised and appropriated. So
Okay.
this is money that we, if it's red and in parenthetics, it would be, we'd have to have some kind of warrant article to cover those costs. Or have some, in our case, just looking like at the co-op on line 23, so it would be, or line actually 25, in year 27, 28, and 29, there's a fair amount of expenditures there for capital improvements, and that would have to be funded either by bonding or through our accumulated funds in expendable trusts, or we're gonna have to have some kind of story to fund that if we actually go forward with those expenditures in that year.
In red, you said?
Yeah, so line 25 on
They don't
the
It
consolidated
doesn't
view.
show up on the Google sheet.
The red, yeah, I don't see red, so.
Well, there's,
In the actual spreadsheet.
Oh, I see it,
it
yeah,
doesn't
okay.
translate into Google Sheet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, that helps. I see it, yeah, thank you. All right,
Just to make sure folks
okay,
understand that.
moving on.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Rob, for
Yep,
sharing
you
that,
got
and I sent it to Gina, and it'll get tacked on to the
Okay.
agenda. All right, budget committee update, Mr. Tom?
Most of what we talked about is already known, and we talked a lot about the guidance and the impact, the operating budget, and so on and so
Pull
forth.
the mic down a little bit.
The communication that I gave to the budget committee was that our plan, the plan was that there was not gonna be a round 5 based on this, and one of the members brought up, should we revise our guidance down further? And I said, I didn't think that that was a appropriate thing to do, that from a standpoint of good faith, that the administration and the board looked at that as a well-established process, and that if you start moving it, it essentially creates a disincentive for them to beat guidance. And the majority of the people there agreed.
Thank you, Tom.
Couple of things that were pointed out at the meeting were the projected town tax rate changes based on the information that was available to Darlene at the time, and her estimate was that the Brookline town tax rate was gonna go up close to 10%, and that Hollis would be going up a little under 7% based on what was available to her calculating at the time. She didn't have everything, but it's big numbers. So depending on how the timing is going, there may be some pushback. My questions to you at this point, are you okay with me telling them, as we talked about before, that the targets are, we're targeting 500K? Is that an okay number for this group?
It's okay with me. Is it okay with everyone else?
Does anyone object?
I mean, as long as those numbers stay at 600
Yeah,
and up.
you know I'll present it clearly. I'm not gonna try and smoke screen anyone. And the other thing I would like to do is, you know, we've all seen this go around, and we've seen it on the screens before.
Is that the document we received last month?
That's what we received last month, and it's the same document that has been used by petition warrant articles in previous years. And the real problem with this is the scale factor, that they don't show 0 on it. So this is showing fluctuation of a very tall thing, so it looks like there's huge swings when the slides that are normally presented in the budget presentation, same graphs, but very different impact because of the scale and the thing. I would like to recommend to the budget committee that they take their existing slide and they create a window and show the distortion that occurs when you don't look at the full graph to preemptively, or not necessarily preemptively, but to explain the the difference between looking at it in this view and looking at it in grand view. Is that something that you folks would
Well,
be
it would help me a lot. So, I mean, I imagine it would help a lot of voters to see that. So, I mean, you could, I mean, I hate to tell anybody what to do, but I think it's a nice suggestion.
Because I think that people are shown this and they see what's on the screen. They're often separated by hours. And there's a question of who do we believe?
Right.
And it's not a question of who do you believe, it's a question of how do you look at the data?
Right. I think that's a really good point, Tom,
Okay,
so that would be great. Thank you.
That's about where I hope to go tomorrow night.
Great.
Can I add to that discussion?
Sure.
So something new that went into effect January 1st is HB 1265.
Pardon me?
HB 1265. And so this is a mandatory report to voters that we're required to put together, which we have no problem with. It's very specified. We are to provide the average teacher salary for the past 10 years on a line graph and adjust it for inflation. We are, by district, we are to look at the average administrator salary, or sorry, the total administrator salary for the past 10 years, adjusted for inflation. We are to record the top 4 administrator salaries, if you have 4, for this year. And you also are to report out on the cost per pupil for the past 10 years. So the interesting thing about this is administrators are also defined in the RSA as the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, business administrator, and DEI coordinator. So we will be printing on 18 by 24 inch paper as required and articulated in HB 1265, everything that we're required to do. And we will include the superintendent, assistant superintendent, for 2 years, FY20 and FY21. We're going to include 2 assistant superintendents. Then we're going to go back to only the one, and the business administrator. And we're going to report that out for each district, where it will demonstrate that you have all these administrator salaries. But we're not, the only other piece of information we can have on this is our district logo. So we're going to have another piece of paper off to the right explaining how those salaries are allocated by a formula every year differently. And so while if that's your offer, we can have a conversation. I don't actually get that salary 3 times. And neither do.
So do you show you show the full salary in each district?
Yeah.
Wait, on the big piece
On
of
the big
paper,
piece of paper,
it's just your salary.
it's the salary and then the total of those administrators,
At the SAU
which
level.
none of them are actually employed by the district, but that's how they're defined in the RSA. So you'll see 2 graphs that relate very closely to the district, the per pupil expenditure and the average teacher salary. The other pieces of information is directly related to the SAU, which has, allocations based on a formula.
So you'll have the legal 18 by 24.
It's bigger than
and
legal.
then- No, I know, but by law, it's the 18 by 24
Yeah.
poster.
Yeah.
And then next to that, you're allowed to post, you can
Additional
post
information.
additional information. And you'll
Yeah.
share with those people who are seeing that, obviously your salary is allocated to more than
Yeah.
one district. Got it.
How and when does that get?
So that has to be 7 days prior to the vote. So we have to publish this in the newspaper.
I
And
don't have a newspaper.
right. So Positively Hollis is willing to publish Hollis and the co-op for us. I still have to put it in
Are
the
they a
union.
paper? Are they a legal newspaper?
So I still have to put it in the Union Leader,
Okay.
but at least it'll go to all families in Hollis.
Okay.
We don't have a spot to post it on our schools, like posters at large, but we're gonna post them on all of our school buildings and the SAU, and then it'll also go, on the website.
Will it show, does it have to be brought up at any point during a voting period?
No.
Okay.
And,
And
it
what
Positively
is-
Hollis doesn't go to Brookline though.
What is the message that you would like the people on the budget committee to know or understand?
Just that
You just want awareness of this?
that this is something that's gonna go out there, and to your point of, the data is accurate, but there are nuances, those salaries aren't fully allocated to the co-op.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
Okay. So, we have a deliberative, we're gonna move on to deliberations. So we have a deliberative item, but I think we made a.
You were gonna talk
we have
about the
something
Oh,
robotics.
I'm sorry, the robotics thing, thank you. See, I wrote it down. So we all received an email from, let me pull it up, sorry.
Team Phoenix.
Thank you. It's loading. So, it's loading. Do you have it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to share with others? So we received an email from Team Phoenix, which is they self-describe themselves as FRC 2342. So what does that FRC stand for? Something, First Robotics Club. A high school robotics team based in Nashua. They're currently working on a project called Reignite STEM, an initiative focused on expanding STEM engagement for high school students across the state. They are looking to share their project with our board and discuss how it can support and strengthen STEM within the district. They would like to be considered for an upcoming meeting in the near future and wanted to ask about your availability and the process for being added to a meeting agenda. And they said it would take no more than 20 minutes. I feel like 20 minutes is long, but
If that includes discussion, that's short.
well, but I don't want them to present. I
Yeah.
think 20 minutes might be too long, but I was going to suggest that they come to us in, say, April or May, for 10 minutes, if that's okay with the board. I just wanted to I didn't want to make that decision on my own, and Gina and I both thought 20 minutes seemed long.
Do we know
No.
who these people
It
are?
looks like they might.
I think before we grant them
Okay.
time, I'd like to know more who they are,
I
who
can-
they're affiliated with, because it's just odd.
Hold on, they have a
I have a website.
they have a Facebook. They are the Team Phoenix 4-H Robotics Club. They meet at, I don't know if they're truly affiliated with, but they do meet at the Academy for Science and Design, but looks like they're 4-H affiliated.
So would you like me to respond and get more information from this person
Yeah,
as to
and
who
are
they're
we
affiliated with?
Yeah, and are we the only district targeted, or are they
They say they
having
wanna
a
do it throughout the
big
state or something,
rolling,
for
yeah,
New
rolling.
Hampshire.
Do you want me to ask for a sample of the presentation?
Well, I would reach out to our First Robotics team and say, are you aware of this
Oh,
team?
that's a good idea.
Are you aware of this project? What do you think?
And
I don't know
I
who
would
is
like
that.
to also have an advanced copy of the presentation. And then we can decide if we wanna hear it.
Okay.
I mean,
No, that's great.
I just, there are times when we have to take input and testimony from other entities for something that we're interested in doing, like when we're doing the facilities. We're listening to organizations that come and advise us, right? Because it's something that we're initiating.
Right.
We don't have, our role is not to, open up and anyone
Yeah,
can
you're
come from
absolutely right, Rob.
anywhere and
That's a really
do
good
a
point.
do a song and dance for us. So
Absolutely
I'm
right. Well, I was a little
on the
leery when I
edge
read
about
it,
this.
which is why I kind of,
Well, I was curious why they didn't reach out directly to our robotics team
Right.
versus coming
Right.
to us.
It's just
And then our robotics team could probably come and sponsor them, because I
Yeah,
would be
okay.
now I'd be more open to hear from our robotics
Okay.
team representing them than just somebody walking off the street and say, we want to do a presentation for you.
okay,
Just
so
to
I have a
be
lot.
clear,
Have you
they
I'll
are,
ask some
considered,
questions.
aluminum siding
they are an
on your
independent
house,
team that's
Independent.
set themselves up as a 4-H group to be a legal organization. They've done it within the structure of the 4-H organization.
Okay,
They were originally housed at Daniel Webster College, and when that closed down, they
Okay.
got space to be at ASD.
so you want more information, who are you connected with? You'd like me to reach out to the robotics team and ask if they are aware of them and if they would like to maybe have an initial meeting with them or a conversation with them to learn more, and we'd like an advance copy of the presentation if we're gonna do this.
And
Okay,
would the robotics team be willing to sponsor them and bring them in to talk
Okay.
to the board?
so I have two
Because
different
if they're not
approaches
interested,
here.
then
Okay.
I'm not sure I am.
Okay,
I mean, I will say on a very surface level, sounds like they're very interested in sort of protecting our planet and sustainability and recycling and
Right.
things like that. Just very, very surface. I'm all for that. I
Right.
think it's great, but yeah, well, I'm not sure why they're coming to us when they should be maybe partnering with our robotics team.
Okay, so I will try to formulate it on, so I will be kind of not able to do any of that for a few days, but I will do that
Oh,
maybe
good.
next week. So if you don't see anything, somebody needs to remind me, because I'm gonna go into a period of not functioning for a little while, so. I'm having shoulder surgery tomorrow,
Oh.
so yeah, so
Oh.
I'm not,
All right.
I'm going into like,
Is
whatever.
it your writing hand or?
It is.
Oh, then, all right.
And my cooking hand,
All
which
right.
is not making anybody happy in
good for
my
the
house.
family.
But I've been cooking for a month, so we have plenty of food because he has to feed me.
One-
Dial the phone. for
Yes, he
takeout
can
with
dial
you on
the phone.
I just to clarify, I don't think that the Reignite STEM thing is considered a FIRST Robotics activity.
Okay.
I think since they're a club that has a FIRST Robotics team, it's falling under the umbrella. It's probably the same people, same group, so our team may not be aware of this project, but they may well be aware of the organization.
And my first reaction was, are they like trying to recruit? Like, what is the
Yeah,
purpose? So I agree. I had some little.
Who's
Need
the
to double
advisor
check on this
for
one.
FIRST Robotics? Advisors, is it Devin?
Nope. I'm going to share that with Holly after I remind myself. We have a new advisor this year.
Okay.
Okay, so, moving on, thank you for that reminder. You guys all keep me on my toes, I love it. All right, deliberative item, we had to do a little amending of the first one. Do you have it right there? Thank you. So, this would be to see what action the board will be taking regarding funding, not chaperone costs, but funding costs for the AP government trip. So I need a motion to approve the expenditure of an amount not to exceed $7,500 to cover the cost of the participation fee for the We the People National Finals competition in Washington DC, scheduled for April 16th, 2026 through April 20th, 2026.
So moved.
Moved by Cindy,
Second.
seconded by Kate.
Can I
Is
make
there
a,
further?
I'd like to either amend it or just redefine it. I'd like to put the explicit dollar amount that we're
I said
looking.
7,500.
Is that, but that's not, oh, so we're just looking to find, you're not saying anything about where it's coming from?
Right, no, it's just we're looking to find $7,500.
Okay.
So do you have a problem? Are you concerned about that, or are you okay with that?
No, I was concerned about making sure that it's not misconstrued that we're funding the entire trip. And
No,
Just the participation fee.
just the participation, okay? If there's no further questions, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? 6-0, motion carries. Okay, so next is our lovely policy memo. Gosh, my eyes, I need something different here. All right, so the policy memo. I'm gonna rely heavily on Dot on this one, okay? So, I'm gonna need a motion, let's go through the policy memo first and then we'll do the motion. So, is that okay with everyone? We go that way? It helps me that way. So, we have the following policy recommendations. This was third and adopt with minor changes, I believe. Actually, before I go into this, let me just say that, we had a conversation at policy. I meant to send an email, I did not. But I would like us to, in the future for policy, we'll send out the policies. If you see grammar, commas, things like that, just email us and we'll try to make those changes. And I'll let people know that we've gotten those emails and that we'll make those changes. But we'd love the conversations here to be on substantive stuff so that we can just move forward with commas and grammar. So. But tonight, we didn't do that, so if you have a grammar suggestion, we will take it. So for third read and adopt with minor changes, we have IK, earning of high school credit. What were the changes?
Under number D, we took out disciplines, physics, indoor domains, e.g. science, and just added the term content areas. And then we replaced the charts that were blurry and difficult to read.
So we put up clean charts and had a little language change. And then IMEA, remote learning.
Under A, we changed as one opportunity, we struck that, and it will now read full advantage of remote education opportunities as a means of enhancing and supporting their education. That was the only change.
So those were the two changes those were the minor changes there. And this would be, if we approve the memo, this will be third read and adopt. So for third read and adopt with no changes, we had IMAH, health education, daily physical activity, and JLCK, special physical health needs of students. So again, there were no changes from last time that when we approved it for second read. For the JICN, prohibition of digital deception and other media, we're at second read on that one. We had some minor changes on that as well.
Yes, under deepfake, I actually caught one this afternoon that did not get done, but we will change strike intelligence AI. We're adding in or other tools. And in the first line under, after media, entering the word that. And under potential for harm, after financial, it would read comma, emotional.
So these were all suggestions that were made last month to really understand that digital tools are not, digital deception can be created by other tools, not just AI. So that was a way to make it a little broader, and we appreciated that feedback. And then we have, for first read, JLCF wellness. So I don't have the policies in front of me, so I'll let you pull them up. Yeah.
This is a wellness policy. There's quite substantial changes. Some of it is just reorganizing language that was already there. Some of it has some new language. It has been reviewed by the wellness committee with no additional recommendations or changes as, in addition to what is presented.
Are there any questions on this one? Because this was first read.
Do you want to do them one at a time, all these things one at a time?
No, I'd rather just go through them one at a time. Yeah, I would rather, I don't want to do this whole thing at one. As I'm talking, like, if you have something on JLCF, please
Okay.
weigh in.
I gotta get it open.
It's easier for us when we look at the minutes too, because that's what we do to make the changes. Tom, you're okay with all that's proceeded, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The questions start when you get into the wellness committee. Where is that?
Tom, there's an opening on the policy committee too. There's only 2 of us, and we meet at 8 o'clock on Mondays.
Well, if you make it 8 p.m., it might work.
Oh, sorry.
Where is the?
8
Wellness
a.m.
committee's on the first, is
Page.
first page.
Roman numeral 1.
Number 1.
Section 1, okay. How can a committee choose the committee members? Because it says, it lists a small group that are there, and then it says, the committee will choose the other members of the committee. And either you categorize that initial group as something other than the committee, and you're saying you want that small group to pick the rest, or it doesn't make sense.
Okay. That's good feedback.
Particularly if that committee is supposed to advise the board.
Well, where is it?
Tom, can you say
Yeah, where does it
where it
say
says
that?
that?
It's
that the
all the
committee-
way at the it's right above Roman numeral 2. It's about a paragraph and a half,
It
like a
says
little bit
staff
above.
appointments.
It says staff appointments to the wellness committee will be made by the superintendent or their designee. The school board chair shall appoint the school board member. Remaining members, other than those who are ex officio, shall be appointed and approved by the SAU 41 Wellness Committee. So it seems like maybe those should be appointed by the superintendent or their designee.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, I don't necessarily,
Add to your list.
I don't necessarily say that, but
But you're right, it doesn't make sense.
But
It
the
doesn't make
first
sense.
2, so for instance, the school board chair shall appoint the school board member.
and that's the SAU school board chair, actually. It's not
it?
the school board chair, isn't it?
I think we have 1 member per board.
Oh, is it per board? Okay, sorry.
And so the staff appointments,
So how about we just rework that paragraph
Yeah,
and
but
make it
I-
more like the subject of the sentence is the people who are doing the appointing?
well, but the big thing is who's appointing whom, because it's unclear whether it is which,
Yeah,
when, I don't know, when you've got all the members, anyway, figure
Yeah.
out
We'll fix
how,
it.
how you get the people on there.
Amy Kilmer and Dot are on it. We are good. I am just the face of the policy committee. I don't do the. Okay.
Just below that, then the
there's more.
implementation plan,
Yes.
there is, where am
I have to like lean in because it's so small.
I had, it says and to create, and the 2 should be gone. Where is that?
Bigger Tom, sure.
Oh,
And to create an action plan?
yeah, I think the word 2 should be struck, I'm not sure.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
And then there's the triennial progress assessment. And there's a thing that says, every 3 years, they'll assess to the extent to which each of the schools are in compliance with wellness policy, the extent to which the SAU wellness policy compares to model. Compares is not an appropriate word. I'm trying to understand what you're trying to achieve,
Okay.
so,
We'll just take that as a comment and we'll look at it.
yeah, it'd be helpful to understand what was going on there. Non-compliant, okay, no, that's something different. That was something about the stuff you're getting, this thing gets rid of a bunch of you end up deleting a whole bunch of other policies as a result of it. And there was, in one of the policies that was gotten rid of, there was the comment about the different foods that had to be in all these things, and that you couldn't have any school-sponsored activities that didn't use foods that were part of the approved, I forget what the term is, but you could have nine non-compliant fundraising foods.
So we're getting rid of all that.
But my question is, did all that requirement disappear completely, or is it showing up someplace else? Because a lot of the stuff from that policy got moved into this one.
Yeah.
Have those requirements from the feds that you have to have a lot of restrictions on, like what food? I saw some of it, you have to have milk, you still have to have milk in the.
So this was in a different policy.
Yeah.
Right.
It was in a different policy, but a lot of that stuff got moved
Moved
into
to
this
this
policy
policy,
now.
okay.
I didn't see that the requirements of the restrictions, so it would impact things like Girl Scout cookies, or
Right.
candy bar sales.
Yeah.
So the question I have is, does that restriction still exist? Because if it is, it's not in the new policy.
Okay, so we'll do a little digging on that.
Okay.
And we expect more changes are coming with some of the federal changes that are coming around dietary
Whole milk,
restrictions.
raw milk.
IKFA is one of the ones that's going away, right?
Mhm.
And that was, I couldn't find where this mapped in, but IKFA had a requirement that a minor had to get a parent to approve their opting out of something, or I forget what it was. But the question I have is, and this is a general question I have typically, when you have a minor requiring parental permission, or a student over 18 not requiring it, what happens to an emancipated minor?
If they're emancipated, they would have the right to make their decisions for themselves.
That's what I think, but it doesn't say that. I don't know if you have to
Are we
say
getting
it.
rid of that policy though, or?
Yes, that's the thing, and I couldn't find I didn't have the search function.
Okay.
I didn't have a chance to look to see if that same wording showed up in the new policy. I was having a little difficulty mapping all three of them into this
Okay.
new one.
So we'll try to look at that as well.
I can look too, but I just wanted to put it on your radar that's just a general concern I have when you have those two conditions. If you don't state it, does it become an area where you've got a student who feels they have the right and the parent thinks that they have the right?
Okay. I think we've made
I think
notes.
part of that is an emancipation is illegal.
It's a legal piece.
So
It doesn't have to be in there.
outside of
I checked that
policy.
It doesn't have to be in?
Doesn't have
So-
to be.
Because it's a legal document.
But how does that map to the policy if a parent were to say to you, they're only 17, and your policy says a minor, are they stop being a minor when they're emancipated by legal
They-
definition?
correct.
It's a
by
court,
legal
it's a court
definition.
document that declares them.
Yeah,
Okay,
Parents don't have any say.
They don't have to say anymore.
no.
okay. Never mind.
Okay, so moving on to, I think it's JLCE, is that what's next on the policy memo?
Yes.
JLCE, I've gotta start printing it's too hard to go back and forth. Okay, so JLCE is also under the policy memo, it
And
is,
this will be a joint JLCE/EBBC.
okay,
If you'll see it's listed below in the body of the policy, the title just needs to be
Okay.
corrected for the next meeting.
so this is a new policy, it's not a new policy, is this a new policy, or it's a no?
First read.
First read, sorry.
Do we currently keep EpiPens and stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Are they still really expensive?
Hopefully so.
Okay.
Not as much as they were.
They're
There
not
was
over-
a point at which they surged and it became.
For a while, they were thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And how often, what are they, it's like a 6-month shelf life?
Yeah, it's not I think it
Something
might
like
be
that.
I
between
thought it was
6
over a
and
year.
It's no more than a year.
Mine are always good for a year.
Okay.
Carry many of them.
Do we use them much? Have we had much need for them?
I don't know that I have the data on that.
Yeah.
I can get the data on that.
No, I was just curious because
So do you have any questions on the policy, though?
Well, that was my question was, are we budgeting
Yes.
for that?
Yes, 100% we are.
And is it a big number? Because of,
Let me, well, you guys talk policy.
Yeah, we're gonna look that one up.
Budget.
Okay, so are there any other questions on the emergency, first read, first aid and emergency medical care? Does anybody want to speak to it, Lauren? I think
Yeah,
you've
so
done a lot
just,
of.
so co-op did have two separate policies for JLCE and EBBC. They were reviewed in the 2008-ish time period. There were RSA updates in 2016 and 2020, and those policies became kind of dual coded. So I combined both of them with the updated RSAs. That's why on the bottom of this, you'll see EBBC completely taken out because that's not at all in any of the sample policies anymore under this category. And then I combined what was relevant from the other policy, and you can see the strike-throughs and the additions there for mostly the JLCE portion.
So this will become JLCE/EBBC.
Yeah, it'll be dual coded, yeah.
Yep.
Any questions on this one? Again, this is for first read.
And it's first reads.
First read.
I just wanted to share with you that the expendable supplies line at the middle school is 2,500 and the high school is 4,000, and those would come from those line items. So it wouldn't be the only item from there, but.
Okay, and then we had JLCD, administering medication to students.
And this was a similar piece. There were updates made in 2016 and 2020, so you'll see where the updated RSAs are in the policy with the included, with the additional information and the strike-throughs from what was in the previous JLCD that was last in 2008 as well.
where does ILBAA get where does the subject matter now get covered?
So wait, we're still talking to JLCD. You're way down.
Oh,
We're
I thought
on-
you were on.
We're
Oh,
on
okay.
present for first read.
I thought you were on the bottom one.
Not on the bottom yet. So
Okay.
does anybody have any questions on medication to students policy, JLCD? Okay, so no comments on that one. Do you have comments? Okay, so, and then we're rescinding, and I'll let you, IKFA, IKAA, IMBC, and ILBAA. Those are three policies that are being rescinded because we've passed, if we pass this memo.
If we pass IK tonight,
If we pass IK tonight and some,
and in the
some.
previous meeting, you approved IKF.
Okay.
So everything that was in those four policies are covered between IK and IKF.
And what was your question, Tom?
ILBAA, does that content get covered by something different right now?
That would be high school competency assessments,
Or is that requirement gone
course level
away?
competency assessment.
That will be in IK if you pass it this evening, because it talks about the competency and graduation requirements.
Okay.
Okay. So I just need to, we put the motion on the floor. I just need, are there any other questions on the policy memo? Okay, all those in favor of approving the policy memo? 6-0, motion carries. Okay, so, we do have a non-public tonight, so I'm gonna need a
Process
report.
observer.
Report out from the process observer, and then our administration can leave, so.
We stayed on time, and I think we made our public happy. Having a discussion, that we got, finished everything on time tonight.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point, I need to, here, this is yours. Sorry, I always have to pull up the non-public thing. I need a motion that the board go into that the board by roll call go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91-A:3 to the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or NC, to discuss a matter which discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of a person other than a member of the body of the agency itself. I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Kate, I need a second.
Second.
By Cindy. I need a roll call vote, starting with Tom.
Tom, aye.
Amy, I.
Cindy, aye.
Holly, aye.
Kate, aye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we are going into non-public at 8:09. Thank you very much.